Hello and welcome to our EU RLCS Last Chance Qualifier prediction video. Who do we think is going to take the 5th slot for Europe and represent the region? Let's look at Group A here. We've got German Hermanos and Low Block. German Hermanos is Rizex, Ivan, and Ray, which is kind of an interesting team. I don't think these guys have teamed together in the past because I know Ray has been playing on a different Spanish roster, I believe. I think with Mark by 8. And then Low Block is Goffs, Psy, and Jazzy. German Hermanos went 3-0 in Swiss with the really high Buckles score, so they did really well. And Low Block didn't do as well, but did beat Ascend in round 5 to take the spot. They did lose to BSK and BDS, which is a bit of a red flag for them, I think. They didn't beat any team that qualified. You can see the 2 teams that beat them qualified. So tough matches. I do think based on Swiss that we have to give it to German Hermanos, and I'm going to give it a 3-1. Chippy Chips versus 2 Danes, 1 Bruv. Love these team names. Chippy Chips is going to be Lasse, Chippy, and Jupe. And 2 Danes, 1 Bruv is going to be Edgeby, Tempo, and Acro. Now, as a reminder, Chippy Chips did pretty well. They swept BDS. They got swept by Ninjas, and they 3-2'd Sick. Whereas 2 Danes, 1 Bruv lost to the German Hermanos only, but beat TSK and Tom Sahur. I think I slightly favor Chippy Chips here, though it makes me a little bit scared that they completely got swept by Ninjas. I think I like Chippy Chips here, so I'll give it a 3-2 close series. I could see that going either way. BSK versus 1-2-3. BSK is one of the French up-and-coming teams that people are very excited about. It's got Rust Easy 95. There's a lot of buzz about him, so I think people are expecting great things for him on the start of his RLCS career. It's also got Mozzarella and Pisky. Mozzarella's been around a little bit longer. Pisky as well. Although I think these are all youngsters, quote unquote. I can say that because I'm Unk status. And 1-2-3 is going to be Neon, Kaku, or Coco, I don't know for sure, and Velocity. Let's see. So 1-2-3 started out strong, lost a close match to Gentlemates. Wow, they really took him to game 5. Good for them. Then got swept by Tokyo Tigers and then beat Heritage 3-2. Okay, so maybe a little bit good, a little bit inconsistent from 1-2-3, whereas BSK went 3-0, beating Low Block, Ascend, and Red Devils. I like BSK here, but I don't think they get it for free. I think maybe a 3-1 is pretty realistic there. Tokyo Tigers versus BDS. Tokyo Tigers are going to be Cash, Ethan, and Hyder, and BDS is going to be Nico, Juke, and Mitzer. I do favor BDS here. I think they're one of these teams that we need to be watching to potentially have a run and beat one of the other top candidates. So I do expect BDS to do better, but you can see their Swiss wasn't that good. They lost to the Red Devils, and they got swept by Chippy Chips, whereas Tokyo Tigers only got swept by the German Hermanos, and they beat Razan Racing, Pirates 3, and 1-2-3. And it's kind of tough because I don't think either one of these teams had a really strong Swiss. I'm going to give it to BDS. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because of the name BDS, being a name that strikes fear in the heart of a NA Rocket League fan in last 5 years. But I think this is a solid roster, and the Swiss didn't really show how good they can play. So that, if anything, is something where I'm going to break from Swiss results and say that seems like they're a little bit underrated. So German Hermanos and Chippy Chips. I could see this going either way. I really like German Hermanos Swiss results. So are they going to be able to pull it together in more best of fives? Chippy Chips. I think these guys keep the magic rolling, and I'm actually going to have them go through. Hopefully, or I don't know, we'll see, I guess is what I'll say about that. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out kind of flat, potentially. This is a team that, seems to have found gold in the Swiss based on their results. So I think that could be potentially close. Now let's look BSK versus BDS, the French new teams fighting each other. I think BSK gets my slight preference here, but I could really see this one also going either way. Based on Swiss, I'm going to go BSK over BDS and say BDS don't quite make it all the way through, so that puts German Hermanos through on the uppers of Group A. Let's talk about the lower quarterfinals now. We've got Low Block versus 2 Danes, 1 Bruv. I'm going to go mostly informed by Swiss performance. I know it's not perfect, but it does seem to be the most relevant stats we have about these teams, especially since some of these rosters are new, and I just don't know them as well. I'll admit that. So Low Block didn't do as well during the Swiss. They lost to BSK and BDS, so they lost to pretty quality teams. Whereas 2 Danes, 1 Bruv only lost to German Hermanos. I think that these guys probably pull it off, but maybe it's a 3-2. 1-2-3 Tokyo Tigers. 1-2-3 already got swept by Tokyo Tigers, so I don't see that being dramatically different this time around. I'm even going to actually predict a sweep just to keep it spicy. I love the Tokyo Tigers mascot. That's kind of fun. BDS, 2 Danes, 1 Bruv. Based on Swiss results, I think 2 Danes, 1 Bruv are slightly better. Based on overall hype, I think BDS wins. I am probably going to regret this, but I'm going to put BDS through on these lowers. Chippy Chips, Tokyo Tigers. Tokyo Tigers, pretty strong Swiss run. Chippy Chips, also pretty strong Swiss run. I do think a 3-0 win over BDS, with 3-2 over Sick, and a 3-0 over Tazaki compared to a 3-0 over Razan, a loss to Hermanos, a 3-1 over Pirates, and a 3-0 over 1-2-3. Who's on Team Pirates? Motion, Tho, and Dr. Koo. That's kind of an interesting roster. I'm going to go Chippy Chips. I think that Tokyo Tigers had an easier Swiss matchups, so my qualifications for Group A are going to be German Hermanos, BSK, BDS, and Chippy Chips. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree on those picks. Now, this one, arguably tougher group, I think, I would say. It's got, to me, the 2 favorites, which are going to be Gentlemates and Ninjas and Pajamas, would be the 2 favorites to take the EU spot. But like we saw in NA, Complexity was pretty much the favorite across most of the videos I watched and the video I made, the predictions I made, and they lost top 4. So it's not guaranteed that Gentlemates or Ninjas are going to make the grand final. Let's kind of see how our bracket plays out. We've got Ninjas, TSK. Just as a reminder, Ninjas is Nas, Oski, and Radosin now. So as you remember, they had Itachi and dropped him or deactivated him or benched him, whatever you want to say, and picked up Radosin because I guess they probably looked at the replays and decided they needed something else. I think the other thing, to perpetuate rumors that I haven't personally confirmed, I did see some comments online that Itachi's hours were relatively low, and I think that was also used to say, okay, this guy's kind of ready to move on to the next chapter of his career. Itachi is one of my favorite players, and I used to have him in like a top. He was my top 5 like 2 seasons ago or 1 season ago, because I just thought he was amazing. So it's kind of unfortunate to see him come this far, but yeah. Long story short, Ninjas in Pajamas replaced him with Radosin. We'll see how that plays out. You never know. 3v3. Maybe Radosin was the missing piece because Nass and Oski have the technical skill to be first man, but Radosin kind of has that. He has technical skill, but he's also more known as a play facilitator. A lot of bumps, a lot of demos, solid defense, very strong mental, I think, and it seems like a good teammate to play with. I remember seeing him with Zen, and always kind of encouraging Zen and being, in my opinion, a big part of why Zen was so had such a great breakout rookie year is because Radosin was a really good big brother to him on the team. Tangent done. So TSK, that is going to be Fighter, Scream, and Yukio. I do think that Ninjas having a 3-0 Swiss, beating Rounds, Caliente, and Chippy Chips versus TSK losing to 2 Danes, 1 Bruv, and Hogan Mode. I think this is pretty much guaranteed 3-0. Don't really see TSK putting a lot of threat on them. Hogan Mode versus Caliente. Hogan Mode basically reverse swept their Swiss. They lost 0-3 to Hermanos, and then they went Rosin Racing, Wuka Esport, and TSK. And as a reminder for myself, they've got Growly, Rezi, and a Chronic. And Caliente has Saizen, Noasaki, and CB. Interesting. Caliente's Swiss results, they lost a close match to Ninjas and Pajamas and then swept everybody else. I think I actually like Caliente here, which may be considered a slight upset based on Swiss results. What do you guys think? I think I like Caliente here, 3-2ing Hogan Mode. Gentlemates versus Sick. Gentlemates is going to be Seiko, Juicy, and Eugen. Sick is going to be J Waits, I believe is how I say that. Beastie and Badness. I do think the Gentlemates just skill diff them and 3-0 it. Gentlemates went 3-0 in Swiss. Sick went 3-2. Lost to Red Devils, lost to Chippy Chips. So I mean, it's a quality results for them. I don't see them beating Gentlemates though. Gentlemates to me is kind of the clearer favorite, with Ninjas and Pajamas also being up there, depending on how impactful Radosin is. Let's talk Red Devils versus Pirates 2. Red Devils is Reese Fox, Astral, and Compact. Pirates 3 is Motion, Though, and Dr. Koo. I think I lean towards Red Devils here initially, but let's look at how they did. Okay, they beat BDS. They lost a 5th round to BSK. They beat Sick. Pirates lost to Gentlemates, lost to Tokyo Tigers, beat Heritage, Razan Racing, and Explosion. I think based on that, Red Devils showed me more in Swiss, and I think just based on name value of these players, those guys are all really quality players, so I'm going to kind of favor them. Ninjas Caliente. I do think Ninjas have the skill diff over these team. There's a world where Ninjas and Pajamas come out and go really flat and just kind of end their season as one of the most disappointing rosters of all time. Granted, they've switched up the roster here for this Last Chance Qualifier, but it just feels like if you've got Nass and you've got Oski, and Itachi, really from the beginning of the season, they should have been a top 5 or top 6 team internationally in the world. I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm being too critical, but I'm gonna have them 3-1ing Caliente here. Gentlemates, Red Devils. That I don't think we need to get too into it. I think that's pretty clear that Gentlemates picks that up. That then puts us to the lowers, which is going to be TSK Hogan Mode. Based on their results, I think Hogan Mode had a better. Yes, Hogan Mode had better, and already swept them. So I don't think there's much for TSK. Maybe they get a game back for their revenge. Sick versus Pirates 3. I do think Sick had. Let's see. They lost to the Red Devils. They lost to Chippy Chips, whereas Pirates lost to Gentlemates and Tokyo Tigers. Maybe I go Pirates here. I think this could be close. I'm going to go Pirates and pushing Sick out. Red Devils, Hogan Mode. Red Devils, I believe is that Belgium team. I could be wrong. Rizfox, Astral, Compact. Hogan Mode, Growly, Resi, Achronic. It's a little bit tough because I could see either team taking this. I think Red Devils had better Swiss, so I'm going to lean on them to win out here and eliminate Hogan Mode from the LCQ. That puts Caliente versus Pirates 3. I do think Caliente had a strong Swiss, so I think they also qualify through over Pirates 3-1. So that has Group B being Ninjas and Pajamas, Gentlemates, and Red Devils. What do you guys think of my Group B? Please let me know in the comments, especially if you disagree with one of the picks. Would love to hear why, or who you think's going to go out and surprise us all. Okay, lower round 1. Chippy Chips versus Caliente. Now, these guys were in the same group, but they didn't play each other, unfortunately. What's kind of interesting here is we only have one similarity. Caliente 2-3'd Ninjas and Pajamas. Sorry, I was probably behind my head. Caliente 2-3'd Ninjas and Pajamas, whereas Chippy Chips got swept by them. So the only measurement we have is their performance against Ninjas and Pajamas. I'm going to go with the team that did better against Ninjas and Pajamas. Let's call it the NIP variable. That team did better, and so let's pick them, or I'm going to pick them. Maybe you pick something. You pick them differently. You let me know. Red Devils versus BDS. This is another matchup where they're in the same side of the bracket. Red Devils have beaten BDS. No. Yes, 3-1. 3-1. Does BDS have what it takes to beat the Red Devils? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say we're not going to see too many shocking upsets here. I'm going to give that a 4-2. Actually, maybe even a 4-1. Most of these first day playoff brackets have been kind of sweeps, or not the best series for us as audience who just want to watch good Rocket League. I think Red Devils win again. I don't see anything from their Swiss that implies that BDS is going to magically come out. And like I was saying earlier, maybe BDS doesn't even make it this far. But for my predictions, they do. So let's talk about German Hermanos and Gentlemates. This is where I think that Hermanos are going to hit their wall, because even though they both went 3-0 in Swiss and Hermanos had a better Buchel score, I do believe that Gentlemates skill diffs them and wins this 4-0. I'm going to have it as a sweep. I got to start making a little bit more controversial picks because I can't be too safe on all these. Ninjas BSK. I do believe Ninjas have the talent to beat BSK. It's another situation where both teams went perfect in Swiss. Similar Buchel score. I think I like Ninjas here. But maybe this one is closer and more fun to watch. So let's give it a game 7. Could be fun. Maybe wishful thinking. That takes us to the lower quarterfinals. We've got Hermanos versus Caliente. I don't think these guys played right yet. They were in different groups. Caliente was 2-3 against Ninjas as kind of their loss, whereas Hermanos were perfect. You know, I'm going to ride with the Hermanos. Oops. Here. And say they go through top 4. Like, I really like their Swiss results. And I like this roster. I like this roster a lot. I think they could do some pretty cool things. I wonder if they're coming in English. They must be coming in English. It's kind of interesting. BSK Red Devils. We've got 3-0. There was already a 3-2 matchup. Let me see that score line. Let's get really into the details here. Sorry, I looked for the series score, and it's not tracked on Wikipedia, so I don't know how that game 5 went. We just know that BSK won, so therefore I do think we give it another close series and say BSK takes it 4-3. This creates a very interesting top 4 bracket. Ninjas and Pajamas, Dirtman Hermanos. I do think Ninjas and Pajamas have the skill here to win through. And I do think Gentlemates have the skill to win through BSK, which to me sets up the expected grand final based on these teams, which is going to be Ninjas and Pajamas with Radosin now versus the Gentlemates. Historical matchups between these two, I do believe, favor Gentlemates. I'd have to look and see how they played in the opens. I do think that Gentlemates is a better team. And I think Gentlemates gets the 4-2 win to become the last chance qualified team. Not a shocking pick, probably. Let me know if you guys think differently, if you're seeing things from Radosin or from these other teams that you expect them to win. I just think Gentlemates, very consistent. They've looked better with Eugen. I don't expect them to play worse. So that's my pick there. I think this team beats the Ninjas and Pajamas at any point in the tournament where they have to face each other. So I do think Gentlemates are going to be the champions of the Last Chance Qualifier. Let me know what you think. If you disagree, I beg you to tell me why and providing any evidence, because I am happy to admit when I'm wrong or when I think you made a better point than the point I made. So please consider sharing with the class your thoughts and takes, or places where you disagree with me. Do you think having German Hermanos top 4 is a crazy pick? Let me know. Would love to discuss it. Would love to hear your point of view. So thank you so much for watching. We're going to be tuned in this weekend, cheering for all our favorite teams and our favorite players from EU to see who can make it to Lyon. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.